In fact, let me close down the YouTube, that might help.
Oh.
I think we're live now. Are we live? I'm still not getting the button show yet.
Live.
Perfect. All right, well, I'm gonna start. I can't see the red live button yet, but that's because I'm using my Chromebook. Ah, perfect. Now we're live. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to HoGaLe's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. We are now joined. Well, I'm joining you rather from Texas. Yes, as you guys will know. So I'm out here, and you know it's been very relaxing, so I'm very happy to be here. Over, of course, to my side here is Lady G, and she's been traveling around. She's been going to Yellowstone Park, etc., and stuff like that. And in the usual position down under in Sunday in the future, of course, is Dr. Lena Rodriguez. So
hello from Sunday.
Indeed. So and you know what, Lena, actually I've just remembered. So you guys know that we like to travel. Lady G ping pong is like a ping pong ball or pinball machine around America. She's just come from Yellowstone Park, etc., stuff like that. Basically, Lena can't stay put unless she's gaffer taped down to her. So, and for me, in a few weeks, I'll be traveling again. But guess what, Lena?
I give up. What?
Well, when I'm on my way to Japan, we are going to be closer in time zone.
Oh, yeah, so it's only an hour time zone difference, Tokyo to where I am.
Yeah. So there's going to be a time in October, folks, where I'm probably going to be doing HoGaLe's at sea in the mid-Pacific and relying on a certain Elon Musk, for Skylink. So like I said, I can't completely pass him out, otherwise I wouldn't be able to do a show. But it will be very interesting. So I've got the questions here. This time they're on the community tab, reading off my phone. Are you ready for the first question?
Totally.
Yep. All right. So let's see where we're going to go first. Ooh. Let's start with Russia. We're going to start with Russia. Then we're going to do France. Then we're going to do something in New Zealand, which I think will be of particular interest to you, Lena. And then we're going to be looking at
the right way round for New Zealand. There we go.
Wonderful.
Maori images on that side, Aboriginal images on this side.
Well. You might you'll find that this next question coming up soon very interesting. And then we're going to look at the US stock market and then Ron DeSantis and squeeze in maybe a bit of Duck L'Orange at the end if we have time. So the first question is it's coming from Nick Minks. So she said, a Russian ship delivered the short-range Fatah 360 missiles from Tehran to a port in the Caspian Sea, a Ukrainian source told Sky News on Saturday. Will this prove a turning point where Russia perhaps gains the upper hand again? Good question.
What is happening?
So will Russia potentially gain the upper hand again with the delivery of this weaponry from Iran? Oh, and the Caspian. Oh, look at that! Look, car just dropped.
Oh, it's too shiny. It's kind
of Wheel of Fortune. That's going to be the first one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Four more.
Oh!
Look!
My first card.
All right, folks, we're in sync already here. This is already saying a lot, folks. It's already saying a lot. It means fortunes could well indeed change.
Oh, gosh.
What has changed? Russia's chances. It's changed Russia's chances.
Well, I can go if you like.
Go for it, Lena.
Well, given two of us got the Wheel of Fortune, And the implications of the Wheel of Fortune are that there is a karmic connection between the countries with this hideous war. You know, so if you go back far enough, but it's been kind of inevitable somehow. There's an inevitability going on here, right next door to the Devil card. And I think this represents, look at this for emotion, the Ace of Cups, emotion around the Devil. I think this is signifying Russia, and more specifically Putin's desire to keep power regardless. He's prepared to chain people to him, you know, in terms of in his paranoid fantasy there. There's still more argy-bargy to come, but it's a bit more pronounced than that with this Five of Swords. It's an aggressiveness and a ruthlessness that is putting people off, and I would say putting Russians off. Because remember, at the beginning of this conflict, which is 2 years ago or whenever it is, everyone deliberately called it Putin's war, not Russia's war. And it was and is always about Putin. He is the one here in the Eight of Swords, I think. I thought at first this is the Ukrainian people, but I think it's more how he feels. And his only way is through. There's no subtlety to the man. There's no room to negotiate with him. And he only knows blunt force. But it did end in the Lover's card, which could be a deal in the massively not too distant future. But the cards are quite heavy up until that point.
Okay, Lady G, what do you have?
Well, this is going to come up with a new message that's going to, rock people. What's being worked on is making it more flush, bringing those weapons in. The challenge is looking deeper into Putin, what's going on. Now, underneath of it is what's important. There's a new action happening, that's causing the burden. There will be judgment with that about him trying to hold on to power, how he's going forward with it. It's not going to be as beneficial as he thinks when it comes to him holding on to power. It will be maybe the beginning of the ending for him with this new happening.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm reading off my cards here. I'm going to lay them flat on my laptop and try not to press any buttons and accidentally delete myself while I'm in the middle of the show. So as you can see, just like with Lena, I got the Wheel of Fortune as well. So what this says to me is that, and it shows that the energies, like, it might be able to make a difference, because the Wheel of Fortune, and for me, maybe it's because I've just come back from Las Vegas, but it really does deal with the spinning wheel. So it means things are changeable. Maybe new timelines are being formed. New opportunities might be coming. So of course, with this big delivery, look, Russia has to do something, because of course Ukraine has made incursions now into Russia. They have to respond rather desperately, rather quickly. So they're trying to literally change their fortunes, quite literally. If you look, though, if we see here in the obstacle position, we have the Three of Swords. So there's obviously a lot of anguish and a lot of heartache, but this is looking like, could this be maybe some of the more desperate kind of grasps for Russia? I mean, it's a tricky one for them to try and turn it around, because there is so much support for Ukraine. Do you know what I mean? There is so much support for Ukraine. Let's assume that Kamala Harris gets in power. Do you think she's going to really let Ukraine fall as being, commander-in-chief? Very unlikely. So I see this as Russia's attempt to change its fortunes, but it may not yield the results that they want, because obviously if it was like the Three of Cups or something, then we would be like, maybe they would be celebrating something. Here we can see things moving quickly, but let's not forget these things fly through the air. And when we're talking about war, I often refer to this as aerial attacks, because you can see quite literally. So this is the delivery of those missiles. But if you look here, we've got the Two of Swords. So there is an element here of indecision. Kind of, it's quite interesting, because it's like indecision for who. I'm not sure Russia would necessarily hesitate, but there might be, maybe this might be to try and cause some indecision in the Ukrainians, but there could be actually indecision within the Russian camp, perhaps, because when we look at the outcome card, look, we get the poverty card, the card of disease. This isn't a card associated with success. So the way I'm interpreting that is that they are trying to change the tables, but Russia may not find it gets as much success as it intended from its air bombardment. It might cause a few more questions to be asked rather than settling things. And then the outcome card is the poverty. So it's like, it could potentially backfire. It's not cards of abundance or luck.
No, or strategic brilliance or clear defeats or victories. No, none of it.
It's kind of impoverished. And of course, this is all being planned by what? The bodyguard. Remember, the bodyguard is now in charge of the whole Russian army, apparently. So I don't know. They're trying their best to change it, but it just doesn't look like it's very successful to me. Anything to add to that, ladies?
In the comments, I just listened to author Anne Applebaum. Russians are buying up UK property. I think it's not so much that average Russians are buying anything. Right? That's more the oligarchs that have bought up massive amounts of property, not just in the UK, but they're very active getting real estate in other places.
Absolutely. And someone was just saying there's a little bit of a delay when the thing actually shows. I'm not sure if it will actually show now. And it was Sharon Donnelly saying, please give a thumbs up. But you know what? I'm going to click off that because the comments are taking so long to show up on the screen. So I'll click off that. Just have to let that one go.
I'm following you, Hoagie. I got my Dutch brothers in Las Vegas this morning.
You know what? Las Vegas, it was bonkers, but it was really good. And I managed to. My friend Julie is very disappointed with me because I tried my best to lose $100 in Las Vegas, but I couldn't. I ended up more than doubling my money on a 50-cent slot machine. I pulled it once and I got $235.
That's what sucks you in.
I used to deal blackjack in Vegas.
Oh, did you?
Another string to your bow.
Yet another string, indeed. But that's not a bad return, isn't it? On 50 cents, she's livid. She's all right. So, are we ready for the next question? Yeah. All right. Yep. So let's begin. So now we're going to jump in our esoteric aeroplane and we're going to go to France. Now this is quite interesting here. So another one from Nick Minks. She says Macron has nominated Michel Barnier as Prime Minister in France as he will secure the far right vote. However, this has caused widespread protests as many feel he is now using this to protect his own position. Will Barnier get the position or will the protests see him step away? Good question.
Oh, good question. And in the comments they asked, did you wisely walk away with your $200, Hogarth?
Oh, absolutely I did. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the percentage is, but for 50 cents to turn into $235. I don't know what that conversion is, but it's very good.
Yeah. And often it's like that, isn't it, Lady G? The smaller machines have a more likelihood of a return. So then you cash up and go to the bigger stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and if you're going to do blackjack, do the six deck card shoe, because they can't reshuffle it in the middle of it. So if you're winning, you stick with it.
Wow. All right. Macron, Michel Barnier, far right in France. So what was it? Will he, what is it? Will Barnier get the position, or will the protests see him step away? All right, will Barnier get the position? We see the King of Swords. That could represent Barnier. I remember what he looks like. He's got fair hair and blue eyes. And that could be the King
Aryan superstar, is he?
Yeah, I remember. For some reason, I remember how Michel Barnier looks like. I think he was part of the negotiations for Brexit. Steely, whitish hair, if I remember correctly. Definitely blue eyes. All right, who's ready to go?
I can. I've used 2 decks.
Go for it.
So it starts with the 10 of Swords, which doesn't look marvelous. You'd have to think for him getting this gig, but they've got their own reasons for doing this in Macron's camp. Yes, they're hoping to influence and bring in the others, but there could be a legal challenge to his actual taking up the role. And then I pulled some of the little Italian cards here, and I got the doctor coming in. I think this is to help Macron. And a message he doesn't want to hear. It's a bit like the 4 of Cups in regular tarot, but this is someone who's traveled miles to come to see the king and has a really important message there. And this is the Elysee Palace, I think. So I think there's going to be 2 levels, like the front of house, which is the public debate and the protests, and the back of house, what are we going to do about this guy? So I think they'll end up saying no to him. I think. I'm not totally convinced.
Interesting. Lady G, what do you have?
Well, at the center of it reads about the choices that he's making. Energy going into it, it's being juggled. What's going on now, trying to figure out the next move. The challenge is getting away with it, with an outcome of him trying to hold on. But underneath of everything, we have this, retreat when it comes to him holding on to power. People are going to walk away with this new message of coming. They don't like it. They don't like what's coming down with the uber right.
Yeah.
So it looks like no, it will not work for him.
Thanks for that. Interesting cards that I've got here, and funnily enough, for me this is all about Macron. The cards
mine were too.
Through it's about him. So if we look here, we have got the 5 of Cups. So this is the devastation, disappointment, and loss that Macron feels after his rather wild, and I don't know if it was substance-fueled gamble, but let's just say it was, it was quite the gamble that he took on the elections. And let's not forget, this was just before the Paris Olympics, which ultimately ended in triumph. But what a gamble, what a gamble to take. So I think
yes.
Upset because even though the far right didn't manage to quite win outright, there's the disappointment. So look, there's the 2 cups left standing, but there is the spilt blood. And of course, Macron has been very much weakened by this I don't know, a kind of a foolish, a capricious, let's call it a capricious act, because he is rather capricious. If we see here in the obstacle position, we've got the Four of Pentacles. So is he trying to do this to hold on to power? Yes, absolutely he is, because this is the card of holding on, you know, filching down the back of the sofa, looking for money and, you know, stuff like that. This is him trying to literally hold on to the Elysee Palace, trying to hold on to power. But if we look in the middle, which is anchoring the whole of the reading, if we look here, we have got the Seven of Cups. So ultimately, this is delusional. I think what is that one of the things that, particularly when you see the next card, I've always believed that Macron suffers from delusions of grandeur. He tries his very best to kind of look quite a lot like a passing resemblance for Napoleon. Maybe some might debate that. But
it's a bit of a stretch, but there we
go.
A
bit of a stretch. But I've seen little documentaries on him where, with the particular makeup that he uses, and the lighting and the hair and the coiffing, trying to look that kind of emperor-like. And just in case we weren't sure, look what comes out next. So he wishes to remain the supreme leader, be the emperor, and essentially, when we look here in the outcome card, now this has got quite a loaded meaning in this context. We've got the Nine of Pentacles. So of course, this is talking about his comfort, his luxuries, and his status, which he doesn't want to give up when he is what? If he remains, of course, president. However, the shadow of this card can speak about moral rot and vanity. And I've always believed on the vanity Richter scale that, you know, Macron is around an 11 or 12.
12,
So this also shows as well maybe how some of his moral judgment is compromised in his desire, you know, to keep that top job and hold on to power. So I'm going to say that he's going to give Barnier the position if he thinks it will keep him in comfort and if he thinks it will keep him as the president, because his morals, I would say, and again for entertainment purposes, are not in the right place, and there are these delusions. So I'm going to say I think he's going to give it to Barnier. I could be wrong, but I think he will. It's going to cause a stink.
What's weird about it, excuse me, is he managed to pull off that miraculous deal with the left to stay in power now, and he's kicking them in the face by embracing the right after that. Thank you for that donation, N. Johnson. That's very kind. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, it's his delusions. That's the problem. His delusions of grandeur. I think it's all gone to his head. He's very vain. He's very, very vain. But, you know, so I'm going to say I think he might give it to Barnier because he's going to do whatever's going to keep him in power. But it's going to go down like a cold cup of sick in France, I think.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that, ladies?
No.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, now, look, Lena, I think you'll find this very interesting.
Oh.
So it's just another Nick Mix question, and then we're going to be looking at U.S. stock market, Ron DeSantis, and then a bit of Duck L'Orange if we can squeeze it in. And I think we need to have the bard on Ron DeSantis. So let's see here. Oh, that was the missiles. Macron. Okay. So this is what she said. As you didn't have time, she asked me on Thursday, as you didn't have time to pull cards for the newly elected Maori Queen in New Zealand. Have you heard about this, Lena?
Yes, she's not elected.
Per
se.
Okay. That's the word that she's used.
It's a very arcane process behind the scenes. Yeah, but go on.
Okay, so well, that's the word she used, so probably not the correct one, but anyway. So let's say anointed Maori Queen in New Zealand. Interested to see what her reign will bring for the Maori nation. So let's do an energy read on the new queen.
The New Zealand situation is different from, I think, just about any colonial experience, in the sense that the British were very reluctant to give treaties, but were cornered into a treaty with the Maori by lying to them. So the treaty was in two languages, English and Maori, and the Maori version promised the Maori people they would still have sovereignty over forests and coasts and inland rivers and mountains. So they signed, and the English version said, no, we have everything. Shocking.
As old as the hills, isn't it? Just so...
Yeah. So what will her reign be like?
Maori Queen.
She's only young, I think, you know, maybe 30-something.
Really? Oh, gosh, that is young.
Okay. Well, I can kick off if you like, Hogie.
Go for it.
So you just described this Nine of Pentacles card very well. So this is the trappings of fame and stuff. They're not, as a family, phenomenally wealthy by international standards, but still the prestige associated with being a Maori royal is huge, as you can imagine. But she's coming in at a difficult time. She gets the Wheel of Fortune.
Wow.
And at the same time, with this Three of Pentacles, she has to work out how to work with the government and the people. The Fool, I think, particularly as the Fool comes straight under the Wheel of Fortune. So Maoridom, which is the collective name for Maori people, Maoridom is at a new stage of evolution. Like, they have reclaimed Maori language, which is amazing. So in New Zealand, you can go from kindergarten to university talking Maori. They also speak English because they're in a dominant English-speaking country. But there's a new development again and a new stage. An evaluation, because they've got a conservative government in there now, which is, we had the wonderful Jacinda Ardern in there for a few years. She was just such a treasure. And now she's been replaced by this boring guy who's saying Maoris get given everything. They get given too much. You know that line. I can't bear it. Like, you take the entire country and then moan about it. So this is, I think, Maoridom building back its wealth in terms of cultural values. And I think her reign will actually be quite positive with this Fool card. But she has to grow into the role. I think she's quite young.
Lady G, what do you have?
Well, at the center of it, it's going to be sometimes a bit of a struggle when it comes to the choices that she has to make. Coming into it, believing, there is the card of belief in higher things, and of course wanting probably to make the best for her community, etc. And when it comes to compassion, the challenge is the message that she's putting out and the outcome of who she's sharing with. So it might be a bit difficult for her. She may want to do the best, but maybe doesn't have the best footing to begin with.
Yes, I think it's early days.
Yeah.
What did you get, Hogie?
Wow, this is quite interesting. She doesn't get the best cards, I must say. I don't get the best cards with her, but here's the first card out. Remember, the question was what would her reign be like, etc. So the first card I get out is the Four of Swords, which is a little bit concerning. Yeah. So what this says is, on the positive, it could say this: she's going to meditate on this, and she's not going to necessarily rush and do anything rash with her reign. But it could also, as well, the word that I'm hearing in my head is moribund. Yeah. So someone might try and make the reign moribund in the sense of it's almost like, you know, like a toffee or a sweetie, but it may lack teeth. Yeah, because this is the card, after all, of rest, retirement, or being wounded in battle, being taken off the battlefield. So let's just say it's not gonna. I don't think she's going to necessarily be crashing many heads together. Or if she is, people might just want it to remain symbolic, almost mausoleum-like something being resurrected from the dead, and it just being a symbol rather than something active. And the reason why I say that is because if we look at the next card here, we do see the card of disappointment, the Five of Cups. So there could be an element of where she may have to face a factor of disappointment, or a sense that maybe her reign wasn't going to be quite as powerful as she may have hoped, or as influential. However, though, let's not forget, even though there are the 3 cups down, there are the 2 left standing. So it shows that there is a little bit of progress. All is not lost. But if we look at the next card here, we see, look, we've got the Four of Pentacles returns again. So 5 of Cups came back, 4 of Pentacles comes back. So here there is that element of holding on. So I think this is more to do with not just holding on, it deals with being conservative with one's resources as well. Because as we can see, the first card is showing it doesn't necessarily get off to a massive flying start. So I think it's going to be a conservative reign. I think she's going to be a modest reign. There's not really that many cards that are that bombastic or celebratory. So it might be a steady as she goes type thing. Maybe the reign that comes after hers might be more significant. If we look here, we've got the Page of Pentacles, and again, modest. These are very kind of low-key cards. It's not like the 10 of Pentacles or the 9 of Pentacles, you know, something like that. But this does show that she might be able to do things to help raise the funds and wealth of the Maori people. Not maybe tons, but it could increase with time, and there could be messages around money and finance. But then when we look here, we've got the Five of Swords as the outcome card. So this has to obviously caution. We know this card is familiar with an abuse of power. Maybe not necessarily hers. It could be those that might be around her. Or there might be institutions within the government that may be abusing their power in regard to her reign. So either way, I don't see it being entirely smooth. She didn't get like big whoopee-doo cards, or like the Four of Wands, you know, showing a big landmark. 3 of Cups showing celebration. It's all quite low-key. So I'm going to say it's going to be quite a low-key reign. Not without some merit, because she does have some pentacles here, but I don't think it's going to be Star-Spangled Banner type stuff.
No, so not. And she's only 27, they say in the comments.
Oh,
yeah.
Very young.
No, it's not actually about the age. It's about the vision and how to utilize that stuff. Now, this is exactly why I say over and over till I'm blue in the face, why monarchies and dynasties don't work in the best interests of the people. She was the next one off the rank from the great-grandfather, etc., and not a lot going on. So I think you're picking up on that. You know, I'm not getting the juice.
Yeah.
But she might reinvent herself on the other side of her first Saturn return.
Absolutely. And thanks for mentioning that, because she's not, that's the first thing that went into my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, she's only 27. She's going to have a Saturn return at 29. So she probably needs time to mature into the role. And let's not forget as well, pages are youthful cards. So that is also showing her relative youth and inexperience as well. So in time, she might start getting, if she gets the Queen of Pentacles, then we know that she really has actually grown into that role. Yeah, but not yet, I would say. Not yet. Yeah. Anything to add to that, ladies?
No, shall we rock on?
All right, so let's get to the next one. 1 second here. What's going on? Let me just refresh. There we go. So we talked about Macron. We talked about Maori Queen. We talked about Russia. Let's talk a bit now about what is happening in the US stock market. Yeah. So this question has come in from Heidi, and she says, what is happening in the US stock market? Stocks are sinking, even all the top tech stocks. Will they bounce back, and when? This has been going on for over a month now, with maybe a good few days in between, but it is nosediving again. Help! Thank you, she says. So let's just take a look. Let's take a look at the energies of the US stock market. You guys will remember me saying for a while, I said when Uranus goes into sidereal Taurus, which it did on the 1st of June, Jupiter went in on the 1st of May. I said the stock market will change, and I said it will become more volatile. But let's see what your cards say. US stock market.
US stock market.
Let's go. And just so you know, we've got Julie's beautiful greyhounds in the back. You know they spend a lot of time sleeping. I'm just going to flip the camera. There's one lying there right now.
Oh, greyhounds are very easy in the house. They like one spot and they don't move from it.
Yeah. Couch potatoes.
Total couch potatoes. I mean, they're so sweet. You just kind of. I mean, they are quite big though. You should have seen. You should have seen when they welcomed me into the house, because there's 17 greyhounds. I felt like I was being mobbed. It was
like a bad movie.
And you should see them when they hoover up food. Judy was like, "Look at this! When I give them the scraps, it's like watching Piranha," and they were just in there. All right, US stock market. US stock market, which can be a concern, of course, for any of you watching that have significant exposure to the US stock market.
Yeah, and this is the problem
etc.
in countries using people's retirements and investing in the stock market. Okay, shall I go?
Go for it.
Yeah. I think short term, we've got a bit of heartbreak coming up here, because I think the stock market overall is doing okay. It's tech stocks, as the question pointed out, that are not doing so well. It could be just because it's a flooded market. We've got here, people will have to juggle their finances, and the bulls and the bears will have to work out their unstable ground and need to make a plan. I think it'll look like things are going south for now, but the second half of the spread is more optimistic. So someone then takes it in hand, or, you know, a group of industries will take back control and do what they always do, which is manipulate stock prices. That will provide the strategy or the pathway to a recovery. So I would say it'll go down for a while, but don't panic. It's not end of the world crash stuff here. There's no tower or anything, and it will come up a bit down the road, meaning probably 6 months or a year or something.
Wonderful. Lady G, what do you have?
Okay, well, what I have in the center of it is a shining intention with jellyfish, with all the new action. Okay, so the energy coming into it is believing in power by the, of course, who is it? The Republic Uglies. Those in power. So what we have now is the determination of surrendering into this manipulation. People are worried about this manipulating thing, with the challenge being that you have to have patience and you have to adapt and struggle through it, have the struggle through it, with the outcome of be still, rest, and see from a different viewpoint. Okay. So I think it's going to change once we have the election, the new administration, and things going on in a beneficial way. But right now, with the election and the craziness of all the stuff happening, that it is affecting the market.
Fascinating, so interesting. And at the moment we've got 1,181 of you with us so far, so thank you so much everyone for joining us, and please of course don't forget to like and subscribe and press the bell notification. And if you'd like to subscribe to the ladies channels, that will be put in the video description below as well, post show, if I've not done it already. All right, interesting cards here. Pulled 5 cards, got 2 major arcana, so that does talk about significant things going on. The first card that I pull out is the Queen of Pentacles. So of course, as you know, I associate this with the electorate when I'm having when we're talking politics. But for me, this is the average American at home, yeah, or anyone who is actually invested in the stock market. As you can see, she's sitting there holding that coin firmly. So of course, this could also talk about what people's pensions, their 401ks, their financial investments, yeah, that they're wanting to keep secure and they want to be bountiful. So we can see here Spirit really is tuning in with the context of the question. Now, in the next position, we have the Lovers card, which of course isn't just about relationships and partnerships. It is about making decisions. But let me cover the naughty bits. But do you remember what I say, my associations with this card? I do associate this card with what? Trade, imports, exports, and economic decisions. So we can see here that means there are a lot of decisions being made in the market. People perhaps maybe kind of just responding. The key is to try not and be too knee-jerk about stuff.
Yes, really important.
Really, really important. Remember, being good with money is like being good with pastry. You need cold hands. Yeah, cold hands make good pastry. Most people's hands are too hot, clammy, and sweaty because they're like, oh, it's gone down, quick, sell. Sometimes you have to hold a position for it to come back up in the long term, particularly if it's your nest egg. Try not to do anything too risky with it. You might have to just hold fire for a while. If we look here, though, we got the Major Arcana card comes up in the middle, and here we've got the Justice card showing up, which of course can talk about legalities, all kinds of legal procedures. But this could also refer to the Supreme Court, but it can also refer to perhaps, maybe a new administration. Let's not forget, if Kamala Harris becomes commander-in-chief, she will also be, because she's also a prosecutor, I think this can also represent Kamala as well as the Queen of Pentacles, as I've said before. Really, she's the unification of those 2 cards. So I think if she gets in, this could be something that could change things around. What I'm going to assume is by the next card, if we look here, if she gets in, we get the Empress. Yeah. Now, in this context, I'm not getting the Russian flavor. I'm going to read it in the usual context, which is of America the Beautiful and the Bountiful. Yeah, because the cards overall are quite positive. So I think, and again, there's a lot of female energy here. You see, there's a woman, of course, Queen of Pentacles, there's a woman of Justice, and we have the Empress. So again, this is talking again about female leadership, female power. So of course, it has to be alluding to Kamala again. I always say the Empress is the richest card in the deck. She trounces the 9 of Pentacles for wealth, because this woman is so rich, it can't be spent. Yeah. But when she's expanding things that are negative, sometimes that can be an issue. Yeah. It is a wealth and opportunity fertility card. And then we have here the 6 of Swords, which is about moving to smoother waters. So I think the key is try not to panic. let the election happen. And if Kamala, assuming Kamala wins, I think that's going to work better for the financial prosperity of America. And it could reach heights not yet seen. But I would say hold on and just understand that things will be volatile because Uranus is there in the early degrees, causing that disruption to, you know, securities, etc., all of that kind of stuff, while it's in sidereal Taurus. Anything to add to that, ladies?
No.
All right.
No, I think you're right. When Kamala gets in, then things will start to stabilize.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Could be a massive boom. It might even hit records again, folks, if she gets in. Because for me, she was just written all over that, all of those female cards there. All right, now this is when we're going to get a bit of Shakespeare involved, and we're going to talk about Ron DeSantis. 1 minute, so let's put newest in first. Here we are. So Marvel Johnson has asked, with Ron DeSantis already using the Project 2025 agenda here in Florida, will we finally turn blue in the next election? Ooh,
let's go for it.
Juice. And then we'll get the Bard's opinion on Ron DeSantis, and we'll throw in a bit of Duck Orange to see what's going on with the crispy douchebag.
Florida turned blue.
Could Florida turn blue? I mean, that question may have seemed mere weeks ago slightly fanciful, wouldn't it? But maybe not so much.
Yeah.
So it's a very good question that Marvel has asked, because it's all up for play. Could Florida turn blue? Florida turn blue. Ron DeSantis. Baggery.
Well, these are very positive cards, I have to say.
Oh. You ready to go, Lena?
Yeah. So when the Eight of Swords came out, I went, oh, you know, here we go. The population's arms are tied and do. But as the spread unfolded, I think this is DeSantis. And he's in a nightmare of his own making. He didn't have to lurch to the mad right like he did. And people are upset by that. They're not impressed with anything he says or anything he does. This is a big cross-arm rejection of him. The groups are working together, and I think that we were talking about France. We were talking about this in different contexts, different alliances coming into a bigger tent. So people who are not naturally political allies, if there's enough of them, here's the sun, the sunshine state, and celebration of diversity and tolerance.
Ooh, dare we dream? Could it be?
Well, yes, it might be just saying this is where Florida could go if it gets over this nonsense. It might not be that explicit, but they're very good cards for Florida in the abstracted future, you know.
Interesting. Lady G, what do you have?
Well, at the center of it, we are in this sacred journey. We are moving and we are hunting for a better family life, better things for our family. The energy going into it is about these emotions that are cropping up and wanting to work towards justice. So what's going on now? We are in the midst of the transformation, and they're looking at his dark deals that he's been going on, and so they are ready to move forward, charge forward energetically. The challenge is about shining, adapting, because at the moment they feel a bit stymied. But the outcome is mirrored souls. So those people that are able to connect, they want to heal. It's time for healing. And we have the wheel. It's time.
Wow, wow. Loving
definitely moving towards blue state. Yeah.
Wow, surprisingly positive, really.
Yes, I was expecting.
Surprisingly positive. Mine are actually quite positive too. The odd little kind of, not quite fly in the ointment. Let's just say, you know, a little bit of grit in the ointment, and some legally stuff. So anyway, I'm going to dive in. So here we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Yep, Knight of Pentacles, and there's 1,314 of you with us now. Thank you so much for joining us here live, much appreciated. So we've got the and the question is, will it turn blue? So you got the Knight of Pentacles, which isn't the fastest card in the deck. It's not stone dead, you know. It's not like the Four of Swords, which literally is going nowhere, the mausoleum, but it's a slow and steady pace. So what this says to me is maybe, yes, maybe Florida might become blue eventually. I'm going to say purple. I'm going to say purple.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Because this he's just not a very kind of quick card. If we look here though, in the obstacle position, we have the Seven of Cups makes its return as well. So again, there's lots of choices to be made, and what I always say is, no matter how obvious a political choice may seem to us, that is not necessarily true for everyone else. So what it shows is, to me, is that the map, as it were, of Florida is still quite discombobulated. It's still technically a red state, and there's lots of people who've got funny ideas. There will be people who are thinking that Ron DeSantis is doing a great job by burning books and banning this and banning that, yeah? But there will be some that will be also looking at the madness going like, oh my goodness, this is absolute madness. He's crazy. Yeah, be a combination. I have a feeling, now look at this, will it come down to some legal decision about how what Florida turns into? Because look, we got the Justice card back again. So again, this is the whiff of the challenges. Let's not forget that the GOP are not just going to roll over and let Kamala have it. Yeah, they're just going to do absolutely everything in their power, and they may try and go to the Supreme Court to try and get things their way. So that's why I'm saying purple, yeah, because they might involve legal challenges or something like that. However, if we look here though, the Empress comes back.
See, women's issues are going to decide this election. And
absolutely, women's issues, like I said, Venus will decide the election. And let's not forget, the Empress is pregnant. So then again, we're seeing the reproductive issues kind of coming up here. So this could be something that may actually turn it. And then, just in case we weren't sure about women's issues and women's votes, we have the Queen of Cups. So, of course, the Queen of Cups deals with a creative, intuitive woman, but let's not forget she has a secret here. Could it be that many women may be saying to their partners they're going to vote red, but when they're in the ballot box, they might do something else? Now, was it you, Lady G, last week or something like that? I think it was you, Lady G, who was saying that one of the top searches on Google was, can my husband find out the way I voted? Yeah,
tells you a lot. And there is no.
You okay? It was someone said it. Maybe it was in the retreat. Sheila. That was it. It was Sheila. Sheila, thanks, Julie. It was Sheila of Celtic Tarot said that basically this is one of the big Google searches. So for me, this card adds more weight to that. Women may be saying to their partners, oh, of course I'm going to vote for Duck L'Orange. But in the ballot box, it looks like women's reproductive rights and female empowerment in general is much higher up the agenda, particularly as we've got 3 female cards again. So, yeah, I think they think he's delusional. He's delusional, and he's trying to hold back the state of Florida, slow walking this. So women will decide it. So maybe I'm going to say purple, but it could be blue.
Can someone let us know in the comments, when does DeSantis come up again for his role? Is it this election or somewhere different? Can someone let us know? How long is DeSantis in for? I'd like to know.
I think it might be 2027, but that sounds horrific, doesn't it? But it could be.
Yeah.
Shall we see what the Bard has to say about Ron DeSantis? Yeah. Who read last week? Was it you, Lena? I think it's your turn, yeah? I thought
it was me.
Perfect. All right. So everyone, this is the Bard's spin on Ron DeSantis. So you know the drill, Lady G. Tell me where to stop.
Oh, is it me? And stop.
Oh, is it Lena? Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I cut across you, Lady G. Do you want to do it again with Lady?
Yes. Just checking. Let me just get to the right bit. All right, let's go again. All right. Tell me when to stop, Lady G.
Oh, stop.
Oh. This is very interesting. So this is what the Bard has to say about Ron DeSantis. And I'll read the 2 pages. There's neither honesty, manhood, not good fellowship in thee.
Oh.
Yeah. And that is from Henry IV, part 1. And then on the other page from Hamlet, it says, are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
That is so him.
Yeah.
He has so
Bang on.
That was a double slap.
Yes. They were
Double
both
slap.
accurate.
Yeah, both very accurate. And for me, especially the one from Hamlet, are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart? I've always said with Ron DeSantis, there's something deeply cold about him.
Yeah.
He's so
weirdly cold.
Weirdly cold. I think he's one of the worst. I really do. I just think he's just this soulless. Ugh. And he used to be in Guantanamo Bay, and apparently he was very fond of the torture and all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, hideous man.
Really not good. And I think the Bard got it fully in there. But we have a couple of minutes left. Shall we have a quick read on the latest tailspin of Duck Larange and just tune in to see where he is in his particular cycle? And as we know, the debates are coming up soon. So let's do a read on how does he really feel about his upcoming debate with Kamala Harris. There we go.
And Mary says in the comments, it's great to get reassuring readings, but we have to do the work and get out to vote. So please volunteer to phone, text, bank, be on a phone bank, canvass, write postcards, be a poll worker. Anything you can do.
Indeed. All right.
How does he feel about the debate?
How does he really feel about the debates? I mean, he must be changing his diapers every hour at this stage. Because, I mean, I wouldn't want to face Kamala if I had that kind of record behind me. How does he really feel about his debates with Kamala? What's he gonna do? How does he feel about the debates with Kamala? How does he feel about the debates with Kamala?
This is interesting.
Well,
I
go for it.
Well, I moved to the circus cards because they lend themselves so much to Trump. Excuse me. So this is inside his head. He thinks he's got it made as the fire swallower here. He feels what he says and does is untouchable. This is all inside his own head. I'm going to send off this barrage. Look out, Kamala. You know, I'm coming. I'm going to nail you, Kamala. You know, like, I'm a big man. Oh, whoops. Sticky hands. And it's doing that thing he does with his hands. And it gets stuck in the bubble gum, like, you know, it starts off this barrage and then sadly the end is here. It'll be obvious that he is just a carnival barker. But it's interesting that the majority of the spread was he's convinced he's got it, but then you saw that hesitation. And this is him exiting stage left of the debate, I think. It was okay. It was okay to...
Yeah, perhaps exploding. Lady G, what do you have?
Well, at the center of it, his whole world is consumed with hunting for those that are mirrored images of him, you know, that are into that delusion and QAnon and all the other crap that he's got going on. But coming into it, he's awakening and trying to rebirth more of his delusional drama that's all up in the air, that doesn't make any kind of sense, but he thinks is brilliant. So what's going on now are about his choices, and his choices have him all tied up, and they will be the end of him, the transformation, the ending of it. Because the challenge is, I love this, the challenge is his shadow self. He's always on the instincts for the darkest thing he can pull out. That's the judgment. But the outcome is, of course, he thinks he's shining. He thinks he's brilliant with the energy he's putting out, that he's going to get the White House.
Gosh, it's so interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting.
Yeah.
So with the cards that I've got, and we've got 1,422 of you with us right now. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. Thank you as well for the donations, and thank you. Please don't forget as well to like and subscribe, click thumbs up, etc., share, all of that kind of stuff. So how is he really feeling on the inside? He is worried about debating a sharp-minded and intelligent woman who, of course, is also, as we know, the Queen of Swords, is also the prosecutor, the lawyer. Yeah, I also associate it with accountancy and stuff like that. But here, so this is Kamala sitting there. She's going to have her blade and swords sharp. Yeah, she's not going to be dropping anything because she's done this for decades. She's, like she said, she knows Trump's type. Yeah. Trump is well aware of this, yeah? And although he may be projecting a tough man image, inwardly he is worried. He's having some sleepless nights about this, about how to prepare. How can he present himself, you know, against this incisive and intelligent woman who is obviously a professional, you know, prosecutor. If you look here, though, in the middle, we have the Nine of Pentacles that returns again. But let's not forget, this isn't a card that's just about money. This can speak about moral bankruptcy, vanity, like I was saying, or being bought off. I think he's also going to try his best to try and turn it into a grift, if he can, and a fundraising exercise in some shape or form. However, he may find his funds are a little bit tied up. It could be the case that Kamala, well, most likely, will tie him up in knots. And what all she has to do, and she knows this already, as her role as prosecutor, is just repeat Duck Larange's actions and deeds back to him. That's all. He's already tied himself up. It's just a case of where now you've got someone sharp, really sharp and articulate. Obviously, you know, Biden tried his best, but, you know, she is a prosecutor. Here's Kamala again in her prosecutorial guise, and she's going to tie him up in all sorts. in his efforts, to try and become king again. So you can see he sees himself as the president. He desperately wants to be the president, but he understands that he's put himself in a lot of trouble. He's going to try and grift off of it, but deep down, I think he's very, very worried about what will happen to him when he faces Kamala Harris and her sharp, truthful, and incisive ways. So I think he's a bit more concerned than he's letting on. Anything to add to that, ladies, before we close?
Thank you to Julianne for the donation, Julianne Jones. And she also says, I designed a T-shirt that says, "Is DeSantis human?" ? And there's a graphic over a heart with icicles. Do you think it will sell?
Wow.
So let Julianne know. It's a cute idea.
I would say give it a go. So thank you, Juliana Jones. I would click up, but it's going to take too long. But I just want to say thank you to M Johnson, Marble Johnson, I think. K Honokala, thank you so much for your donation, and Juliana Jones. I think we're going to leave it there because we are 5 minutes over. So any last minute things to add to that, ladies, before Julie and I hop off to the greyhounds?
Woof, woof. I'm about to make a video today, and I'm going to be talking about the Trump boys' new cryptocurrency business they're launching. Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Wow.
And other things. So I'll see you in a couple of hours, people. I'll put that out.
Perfect. I certainly wouldn't trust that one.
For sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It was a pleasure as always. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and share and all that jazz. We're going to be literally off to the races now. And ladies, I will see you next week from the UK.
Where will you be next week, Hogarth?
I will be in the UK. I'll be back in the UK next week. So you see me with my usual lighting and all of that kind of stuff around. I'm sure.
And Bangkok brothel beads behind.
Exactly. The brothel beads will be back with the according lighting as well. So thank you everyone for joining us. I really look forward to seeing you next week, and bye-bye for now. All right, bye-bye.
Yeah.